All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good evening to those in Liberia. We say welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. I am your host, Augustine Sheriff. I'm here today with my good friend and brother, Dr. Positive. He's not a real doctor. Let me put that caveat in there. He's not a real doctor. So, Mr. Positive, how you doing today, boss?
Man, I'm gonna fire you. Come to put my whole butt outside here like that, and you want to come tell me? Yeah. But anyway, listen. Hello, everybody. Don't mind Sherry politics. He's gonna be a politician. He's trying to get into politics. But again, welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. We're gonna be having a great discussion here today. I'm here chiming in for Dr. Roberts. So at least you gotta have one doctor on the show. So you gotta pop out.
All right, and to
Yeah.
our friends in Monrovia on Freedom FM 87.9. Chris, we say good evening to you guys and thank you guys for taking the broadcast live. And Dr. Roberts is going to be joining us. I think she is right now. She is at the Liberia Diaspora Conference meeting with the president himself, Joe Boakas. So we'll see exactly how the conversation goes today. But
Yeah.
today, fourth Sunday of the month, and the fourth Sunday of the month, this is where we come here and we discuss mental health issues. And so today, though, the topic we are going to be talking about, it is the topic on gambling, gambling and how it impacts our mental health. And so when we talk about gambling, I know sometimes we think about what happens in Las Vegas. We think about maybe someone gambling, pawning down their whole house, or someone emptying their bank account. But these are all things that take place, of course, when you start to go into addictive gambling. Now, when we start to discuss this topic, though, you will notice that most of the information we're going to be providing today, this information comes from the American Psychological Association. And so basically you can look at that, but the principles that we are going to be applying, these principles actually goes across culture. And one of the primary things that we try to do here, as you hear Liberia in the name of the platform, most of our programs we really try to highlight situation in Liberia. We try to highlight events taking place in the country. And I mean, is gambling a problem in Liberia? Is gambling a big issue in Liberia? Well, it is left for us to kind of discuss. I think those who have visited the country and anytime recently, they will be able to tell you that look, they got sports betting there, they got different type of gambling, they got all of these different things taking place in the country. And that's a discussion that we can actually have to and see how that affect the people. But what we're going to do, though, we are going to take our time and really pick up some aspects because we want to bring the mental health piece into it. Is gambling just a habit? Is it just something that we do? There are some people who are able to actually responsibly gamble. They are able to use their resources and they can set a limit, they can set a bar, and they will be able to tell you enough is enough and I'm done. And we'll bring Liberia into the discussion because most of the thing we really want to go back to Liberia to see how our people are being impacted. Is there a limit? Is there certain thing taking place in Liberia when it comes to gambling? Who is supervising? Who is actually setting a limit on how these companies that are bringing about this gambling in the country, how are they supervised? And so we are going to be talking about that as well. And like I said, my good friend Steven is going to be on the show here with me, and we are going to be discussing some of these issues. But just to give some kind of historical context, over 20 years ago, though, or so, researchers, I mean, they were able to actually refine and understand how common gambling addiction and they were able to conduct this research to show who are the most impacted folks, who are the people who are actually impacted when it comes to gambling. Is it going to be the everyday people who are trying to make ends meet? Or is it going to be the wealthy people in society who have all the money? Are they the ones going to gamble their money? Are they the one going to Las Vegas? Or is it going to be everyday person like you and myself? We are definitely going to look at that answer. We are going to be discussing that as well. But we have to look at gambling. Oh, my good friend River Says Pro is here. The big boss himself is here. But we got to be looking at gambling, one way or the other. I always like to say, one way or the other, Each and every one of us have gambled, right? We have gambled something. Now, whether it was at the point of addiction or not, we have gambled something. Now, River says Pro said he's thinking about building casino in Grand Bassa County. I think somebody beat you to it, River says. I'm serious. I think somebody already beat you to it. The Chinese are building the thing all over. I know it is not just in Monrovia. They got it all in the different counties. I can tell you that for sure. But we'll talk about that. We definitely got to talk about it. But here's the thing: when you look at our life as a people, one way or the other, each of us have gambled something. Let me give you a classic example of maybe my gambling, right? And I'm just going to put it up here. Fresh out of high school, fresh out of high school, you know, I went to the U.S. Embassy in Liberia, I think, and I think I was in LU at the time. I was doing some research, and I got to the U.S. Embassy, and I met this lady, and this lady said, "Hey, you should definitely play the DV." She was a librarian. She worked in the library at the U.S. Embassy. She said, "You should play the DV." I said, "What the heck is a DV?" I have no idea at the time what the DV was all about. So she told me all about it. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to try my luck. I'm going to play." I'm telling you. And so that was my first brush with quote unquote gambling. Now you may look at that and say, "Oh man, that's not gambling because at least it was a good thing. It took you to America." But all of those different things, though, it can get addictive, and gambling comes in different forms, right? And we start to gamble, we start to do all of these different things. Sometimes even a joke. Now, this is football season in America, right? I know when I say football, those of you in Liberia, I'm not talking about the football that we play at SKD. This is a different type of sport that they play here in America. They call it football too. So in America, they will refer to our Liberian football, they will refer to that as soccer. So, but this is American football season. And right now, in the local offices, or even in the communities, our friends, everybody is doing something they call fantasy football. And this is where people come and put money together, and they start to bet on teams, and they start to bet on players. And at the end of the day, it used to be that you have to wait for the entire season to end before you get your money from the pot. However, though, it has come to the point now where these games are as the games are being played, people are betting live. They are betting and they are doing things, and before you know it, man, gambling have just taken have taken root. You have young people, you have older people, you have all of these people, and sometimes even big banks, big corporations have put themselves in that position, where they are now gambling. They are actually sponsoring some of these gambling platforms. And so gambling has become a big thing. And back in 2013, gambling problem used to be referred to as, you know, just something, it was not a big deal. They used to refer to it as pathological gambling. That's what they used to refer to it. That was the medical term they gave to it. Pathological. Like if someone call you a pathological liar, so basically that just simply means, man, there's no way. Everything you say is just a lie. And so pathological gambling, that was the gambling problem. That was a problem. That was the name that they actually came to associate with this problem. But now they came back again and they look at it in 2013. They say, you know what? Let us give it a proper name. And now they call it that impulse control disorder. So that is exactly what they have started calling it, impulse control disorder, because it is very impulsive, right? You can be driving down the street and you see a billboard, and I'm speaking to my friends here in the States now because they know exactly what I'm talking about. You could be driving down the street and you see a billboard that says the Mega Million or the Powerball is like $1.2 billion in jackpot. And the next thing you know, you say, you know what, I'm going to try my luck. You go, you stop by your local gas station and you buy your ticket, because the goal is at some point in time, you're going to try your luck in this gambling thing and you buy your one ticket. Sometimes there are people that will stand there and will pay hundreds of dollars to purchase ticket. I think the Powerball ticket is about $2, right? So people will stand there and will purchase hundreds of ticket, especially when the jackpot is that high. They will they will spend hundreds. I'm being conservative when I say hundreds. There are some people who actually spend thousands of dollars and put a bet on these jackpots, and they will actually some people overdraw their bank account just to actually have this opportunity to be able to hit that jackpot. Because the mindset is, if I can hit that jackpot, if I can get $1 billion in the jackpot, my whole life is going to be different. And so that impulsiveness, that impulsive control, it drives us to get to a place where now we find ourselves in a situation. And when they say the children's school fee has not been paid yet, you say, you know what, I'm going to go bet on Arsenal. They say, oh, but the children got to go to school tomorrow. We can get food at home. You take your money. You say, you know what? I'm going to go bet on so and so place. And betting in Liberia is a whole different ballgame. We're going to touch it. But I just want to stay home here for a second and speak about the gambling addiction and how it is no longer just the adult. I mean, the statistics show, Dr. Positive, statistics shows that young people under the age, I mean, from the age of 20 and above,
Mm.
in their 20s, they are the one really, really into this whole gambling behavior. So I'll let you come in and let's just kind of give me your own little take on what you think about the topic in general, and then we'll continue to discuss it.
Yeah, and I think you said you cover so many points. I don't want to lose some of them, so I'll just chime in from what you were stating, right?
Yeah,
In terms of gambling, who are the people that really gamble? Who are the people that are impacted by this thing, right? And you were mentioning whether it's the rich people that gamble or whether it's the poor people that gamble. I would like to see the statistics, right, that show which part of the society really gambles. But from my little thinking, would be the common people because I want that instant gratification, or I'm hoping that I can be that number one pick. And like you said, your gambling was DV. And a
right.
lot of Liberians do that all the time. And our government doesn't even say, oh, let's reduce the amount of people that participate in this gambling process, right? But people will not term it as gambling because they don't see the magnitude of the money that is being lost, right? And
Yeah,
I did a sample on that. And Africa alone lost trillions of dollars from DV. And America is building their roads, they are doing their things on that. So the common people, mostly I would say, are usually impacted because we want, okay, like a country like Liberia, there's no job. You said in the US it's 20 and above. I think Liberia is below 20 because we don't have the statistics that show what age you're supposed to be, or the policy that show what age you're supposed to be to start gambling in Liberia. So anybody that have money, once that game is going on, they go and drop their money in that bucket. And I don't know even the apps they are using or the tools they are using. If anybody really win the lottery or those games in Liberia, if people really win huge sum of money, you understand?
sure.
And whether there's even a regulation to say, all right, if nobody is winning this thing after people play for a whole year, what happened to the system that running the it's a fraud. You understand? So just to look at the big picture of gambling, I for one, I knew I had that thing you call the scientific name, the impulsive thing. I knew I had a long time ago when I started playing computer games. So basically, I decided not to play computer games. I decided not to get involved in anything that requires me to constantly do something to see my result because I
Mm,
saw my ability of getting addicted so quick that I decided to avoid playing the lottery because once I start playing, I'm not a guy that just go and put a number. I'm sitting down calculating the numbers, and yeah, no, I take it serious. You understand? I take it serious, so I want to know like what are my chances. So I will start doing my own calculations. So I'm gonna do a random number, get this number, and go play. Tomorrow, get another random number, get a number, and go play. So based on what I saw in terms of my try when I tried playing computer game, when I tried playing the lottery, when I first came to the US, based on what I saw, I was like, no, Steven, this is not for you because I could see myself being that guy that my rent is due. right? My rent is due, and I'm going to play my last chance because I know that number that I randomly generated is the number that's supposed to win. You understand? So
Yeah,
I basically decided not to do it. But a lot of families are being impacted by this, and they hopefully we'll get into this later. The mental health aspect of it, where it become a sickness, is when you cannot control yourself. You understand?
absolutely,
When you cannot control
absolutely.
yourself, now you're preventing, and you were asking who really suffers. It's not
Hmm.
just the person that is impacted. It's the family that will not get food to eat because that person took that money to go and gamble. It's the future that person is supposed to have with their investment they could do with other with the money that they are taking to gamble, because people go as far as pawning their cars, pawning their cell phone, pawning everything they have just to gamble, and that become a serious problem. And the sad thing is, in places like Liberia, who checking to see whether Johnny or Yakpawulo spent his last money that was due for rent, whether he spent it on gambling last week. Nobody checking that. You understand?
Yeah.
So you have families being breaking apart. You have children's school fee not being paid because of that, and no, and hopefully we just bringing highlighting this. Somebody in our government will say, "Hey, this is something we should start looking into."
Yeah, and I really appreciate that because you talk about the video game, right? You know, I'm not a gamer. I don't play a lot of video game. It's not something that I can tell you I do, but I do know people who actually take it very seriously, and they have they play with players from all around the world. They get online and they are
Mm-hmm,
connecting with different people, and that connection sometimes it goes to a place. Sometimes when you are playing, you are getting all of these trophies, right? The
mm-hmm,
trophies
mm-hmm.
you're getting points, you're getting all of these things.
And you
You
gotta pay.
Yes, you got to pay, right? You got to pay. So, but sometimes you don't feel like you gambling. You really don't feel like you're losing anything. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in order for you to go to the next stage, you have to get
Pay.
token and pay
Mm-hmm.
something extra for go to the next level. And I
Mm-hmm.
think most of our friends in Liberia will probably not know exactly what we're talking about because not everybody have access to some of these high tech games. But I know we have some game points in Liberia as well. I saw one section place in PHP Park. I think there was a game room. I saw that. And so they have some of these places. But the one thing I want us to kind of focus on, for example, right, it just kind of take it piece by piece before we even get
Okay.
to mental health places. Now, if you have someone who definitely saw the billboard and the lottery jackpot is $2.5 billion, and that person say, you know what? I'm feeling lucky today. I'm going to go ahead and buy my one lotto ticket. And that person go and purchase his or her one lotto ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, if you look at it, quote unquote, that person is gambling. But do they have a problem? At that point in time, no. There's
No,
no
no, no, no.
they don't have a problem. That person can afford that $2 and they go and buy that $2 ticket and say, you know what, this jackpot is up. You never know. Let me see what happened. You don't have a problem, Dr. Positive. You
Can
have
I chime in right there?
please.
So I'll tell you my analogy that I use. What made me to play the last jackpot in Texas, right?
Mhm.
I said, okay, my chances of winning is very slim, but at least for the even though I'm paying taxes to the school system, since they said this money part of it go to the school system, it go to road, it go to development. At least if I lose, I know I'm donating towards building schools.
But
I'm
let me stop
donating.
you there. Let me stop you there, Steve, because that is the justification that we make. That
Yeah,
is
no,
how
no.
sometimes we adjust it. No, I'm not saying your point, but at times,
Yeah.
sometimes you look at it, you say,
Mhm.
that is the justification we made, right? You say, you know what, at least I'm contributing to something good, which in your mind, it
Mhm.
still increases your adrenaline, it increases your sense of giving back to society, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's say, for
and I mean
example,
that was the only way I could see myself playing, because I mean, like, people were telling me, "Oh, Siri, you need to play, Siri, you need to play." So I was like, finally, you know what? Let me put my name in and see, maybe all the dream that I have will come true. And I actually went. I'm telling you, serious story. I calculated, did a number, and I picked different number from different part of my life. put them together. I didn't just pick random number. You understand? So like I said, I do take it serious when I'm going in. So it could be a lot of work for me. So that justification, that was the only one time that I played the maker jackpot, and I didn't win. Since that time, when I see it, I say, "Good luck to the people who win. I will be here." But yeah.
And see, that is a very good example because in that particular example that you just shared, you have no problem. You are able to control that impulse. But then when we get to a place where you can no longer control it, whether the jackpot is 100,000, the jackpot is 25,000, you
Mhm.
just have this urge just to keep playing because your rationale is it could be me. Tomorrow it could be me. And
Yeah.
that focus, even though the dream or the goal, when you look at the statistics, you look at the odds of winning. People always make the analogies that you have a better chance of being struck by a lightning than to win the
The
lottery.
lottery. Yeah. Yeah.
People use all that, but that acknowledge doesn't even seem to phase us. It does not even scare us. And we will look at it and say, well, I am not going into my family bank account to take this money. The money I'm using is my own allowance or it's my own spending money. So I would just set this budget. Once this budget is done, then I'm done. I'm done gambling. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm not going to use my family money. I'm going to use the money in my account. And
Mhm.
that particular thing, Stephen, for some reason, it keeps bringing us back week after week to purchase the ticket.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right now, as you and myself talking, there are NFL games taking place right now. There are people sitting in front of their computers and they are actually betting. And sport betting have taken over every state in
Oh yeah.
the United
Yeah.
States of America.
I, I,
As you're watching the NFL game, you're watching all of these sport betting advertising. You find it everywhere. We have not even touched Liberia yet. I don't want to go there, but let's continue to talk about what we see here in the US. Another place. Yeah, go ahead. You were going to say something.
no, no. You finish your thought. I just.
I was going to say another place again that we rarely find these things actually taking place. It is all of these. Sometimes we look for all these different things that we have to do. If it is not the lottery, sometimes we find these get rich quick scheme. That is that form of, if somebody come to you and say, bro, I have this particular thing. If you bring 5% you into this particular program, you will actually double every time that person make money, you make money. So all of these pyramids can come into place and we will buy it because our impulse, we just don't have that ability to resist this whole idea of trying to get something because we have this mindset that we can get rich. It could be us today.
Yeah. So Sherry, just to add to that pyramid scheme, looking at the whole gambling thing, people don't see those as gambling too, right? They just see it as another thing that I have to do. But how much money you have to put in before your name come up? When that thing came up, when the Americans took on Susu, and they show some pictures showing you how you could be degree level, richer, faster, and things. Me being a talk show host, me being a public person that's always out there talking to people use me as the person to go to for these kind of stuff. Once it come up, people come to me and try to convince me how they think I could be a good salesman. You understand?
Hmm,
So I,
hmm.
I, I, I had to dress back and tell people, I say, hey, if you can show me your bank account, show me how much money you've made from this thing, right? Then I will maybe I will sign up, but nobody did. But then few months later, I heard people started arresting people. People started calling police on people because they were the one that invited them to this thing, and they had no way of getting their money back. When I look at the Liberian Susu system, it was like you can get your money back because at least you're number 8 in line. After the 8 person finish, you get your money. But this other thing was like they said you had to bring 8 people. When the 8 people finish getting their money, when those 8 people come, those 8 people have to bring each each of them had to bring 8 people before you get your money. You understand? So I was like, then at what point do I benefit? If all those 8 people that I bring, none of them bring people, then basically my money stay in the system. You understand? So these are things that happen, and the same thing is happening in Liberia right now. Sherry, we lost you a little bit. So the same thing is happening in Liberia right now. We lost the radio station as well, but the same thing is happening in Liberia right now, where they have these organizations that come and promise people of the same pyramid scheme. I had a friend of mine who called me and told me to send her 150 US dollars for her to put her name on this thing, and it was going to make her very wealthy and thing. And I was like, you know, if this person you is promising you that, have you checked? Is anybody looking into the thing to see if these people are scam, right? Because Liberia, we don't. Sadly, people get hurt many times before somebody say something about it. So I was telling this person, I said, if you come to me and tell me you want to sell Kuwait, I will give you that money over giving you money to go and put in a pyramid scheme. I'm in the US here, that thing don't work. So please, that person didn't speak to me for a very long time after that conversation because I was between them getting rich. So they never spoke to me for a very long time. But coming back to it, these are different forms of gambling that we are getting hit with, and majority of the people that are get impacted are the poor people first, because the person that's sitting down behind that thing is on some island enjoying himself. Once you pay your money, whether you're playing video games, you're buying points, you're buying tokens, you're doing all this stuff, that money is not coming to you. It's not coming back to you. It's going to somebody out there. So I think for the mental health aspect of this conversation, when people see themselves getting to the point where you cannot stop and something is pushing you to constantly redo this thing, then you need to pause yourself and say, hey, can I talk to somebody, or can I reach out to somebody to advise me whether I'm making the right decision?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna also just gonna look at a study here that was published here. I think it was back in 2017. But scientists came together and they really studied the brain, right? They studied the brain of people who are actually involved with this gambling. They get into this place and they begin to look at the frontal cortex, that place where all of that decision making process takes place, the place where you start to think about decision. And, somewhere from Liberia says, you have to be in Liberia, you have to be 18 plus to participate in that gambling process. So we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, so scientists look at this and they saw something very, very peculiar. They look at something very peculiar and they say, well, the person who is gambling, there is something that is taking part in their brain. Their brain is actually acting, is responding to all of the stimuli or all of the stimulus that they are receiving. It says people with a gambling problem also have smaller volume in their hippocampus, two region in their brain. They have very small region because it really affects your brain in such a way that impulsive control takes over, and you always, by the time you get your check, you want to go and participate in this. You want to participate in this gambling because to you that is just that instant gratification. You just always know that you will win. Tomorrow I'm going to win. If I play this, I'm going to win. And so let's go to Liberia, right? Let's talk about Liberia. Someone just kind of posted here and said you have to be 18 plus in Liberia. Now, that the positive, this is where I put my mouth for our country. You have to be 18 plus. I respect the fact that they say 18 and above. I think it's similar to what we have in the US. 18-year-old person can go to the gas station and purchase lotto ticket, or most of them can participate in some form of gambling, whether it's video game, a casino, they can participate. But let's just look at structures that I saw in Liberia, and then we can talk about it. One of the things that I saw in Liberia, apart from the nightclubs and the entertainment centers that are all over Liberia, every little community you go, you have some kind of kinju shop. Everybody's selling beer or alcohol. That's the only business. It seemed like making money. And apart from that, the casinos are being built. And I'm just talking Monrovia. I have not gone outside. No, I went outside Monrovia this last trip. I was in Liberia. I went to Cape Mount. But basically, I'm just saying, in Monrovia alone, you can go from ERW Junction and start making your way to the Cinco area. You will pass at least 3 or 4 different casinos.
Wow.
all Chinese operated. They got a
Mm.
Golden Crown Casino, Golden Palace Casino, and they're still building. There was one that was still being built right opposite the ministerial complex in Monrovia. And all of these places, they are pulling people in. And I'm going to tell you a personal story. The house I was living in when I was in Monrovia, I'm not going to say name for respect for the people. The
Mhm.
house I was living in, the family that lived next door to my family, that family, they were not well off. These were everyday people. They were hustling. They're trying to make it. The
Mhm.
daughter, the son, all of them, they're trying to make it. The father is not working. The mom is not working. The mom can sell some food on, I mean, like Kobo, she sells some food.
Mhm.
But as soon as that woman gets money, the first thing that woman does, she goes to the casino.
Mm.
Her husband sat me down. When I went to Liberia, because they were next door neighbor to my family, I
Mhm.
gave them some money. I said, hey, give them some money, put some cash in her hand. The husband sat me down. Husband said, you were not supposed to give that money to that woman. I will
Mm.
not see that woman because she's going to the casino and
Mm.
she's gonna go spend that money. And this is a family, Dr. Posidi, I'm telling you, that did not have it. But
Mm.
we had a true belief that when she goes to that casino and pull whatever the thing is that they pull down, she feel like the windfall from heaven is going to open and money is going to come pouring in. She have no idea that those systems are also manipulated. You could probably spend like $2,000-3,000 before you win $100.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, those are operated, they are manipulated, but the Chinese are not there to give you that money. Those are
Mm.
operating at casinos. They are there to make money. They are not there to give you money. And so, but they really have this mindset that they could win. And because of that, we have not even touched sports betting, but the casinos in Monrovia, somebody in Monrovia, correct me if you think I'm lying. The casinos in Monrovia, when you go there on the weekend, they are crowded, they are packed.
Mm.
Young, old, everybody is there trying their luck, and they think they're going to win some kind of windfall.
So Sherry, you see me, it looked like I was just in Liberia 2022. That means I've been there for decades already. Because when I was there, I didn't hear about the casino. So I don't know when they were built, but interestingly, I never in my lifetime thought casino were in Liberia right now. To be honest with you,
Whoa, man, you are
you
so
know,
innocent. I love
I'm
you,
so,
man. You're
yeah,
innocent.
yeah. Like I never thought casino. I heard about the gambling, the football gambling, there's other gambling and stuff that kids were doing. Like they would go to some place like a little shop. I never ever knew that there was a casino in Liberia at this point. Again, and you get but the point I'm trying to raise about that too is in America here, like I was saying, the reason I gambled or the reason I took part in the jackpot was because I thought there was a benefit to the school system, even if I lost,
Right.
right? Now, my question to the Liberian government is you letting foreign nationals to come to your country and build casino. This is not owned by Liberians. It's not owned by Africans, right? These people are coming to build casino. What is the benefit for the country if we um, play this if we do gambling? What percentage of it go to the country? You understand? If there's no percentage that goes to the country, all that money is taken is free money for the Chinese because I can develop a system, a game that says nobody will win, or after every 1,000 player, one person win. You understand?
That's
After every
exactly.
10,000 player, one person win, and I can create a computer code for that. And once that code is in place, you have to have 10,000 people play before one person win. You understand? I don't know what algorithm they're using to make that work, but in that case, these guys can have a money sucking machine that they can enrich themselves, and the Liberian government, the Liberian people would never benefit from anything. And that's money that is leaving our country every day. And if there's no regulation to say that when that money is obtained, it has to be reinvested in the country. Basically, once those guys get their money, they get in US dollars, right? They
Mhm.
take it and go and build their factories, they build their things in China or wherever they come from. So somebody have to start looking into this because if the money that is coming out is not even going toward road development, nothing, then our country is losing millions and millions of dollars that we could put towards doing other things.
Yeah. And so again, I want to go back to the age, right? And I really appreciate our friends in studio that actually gave us the correct number that you have to be 18 plus in Liberia to be able to gamble or participate in those games. But how many 18-year-olds, and this is where the psychological thing come in, we start talking about the mental health piece. How many 18-year-olds in Liberia? How many 20-year-olds in Liberia? Let's even push it to 40. How many 40-year-olds in the country has a job that can give them a livable wage? How
Sherry,
many?
before I answer that question too, Sherry, let me ask you one question.
Yes,
How
please.
many Liberians from 18 or from 16 have a national ID? Who identify the person as 18-year-old? Right?
Yeah.
So that's the first question we should be asking, because when I come here and I just tell you, oh, I'm 18, do you believe me or do you ask for an ID? So now we can go to answer your question, right? The next is job. As you and I know, the job that most Liberians have is knowing somebody in the diaspora, having a family member in the diaspora that you reach out to. At times, there are few people that have jobs, but Liberia is the unemployment rate is so high that I don't believe we have 60% of our youth working.
Yeah, and because of that, now again, this is where we talk about the impulsive controlness, right? But you really, because think about that young 18-year-old, 20-year-old person, but think about the age psychologically. When you look at psychologically in the U.S., for example, I'm going to use the example. What we do when your little 18 or 17, 19-year-old child is on your auto insurance, you will notice that auto insurance is
It's going
skyrocketed.
up. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
skyrocketed because
Mhm.
scientists have studied to know that young person, their thinking faculty have not fully developed yet. They are
Mhm.
saying you have to get at least to the age of 25 to 26 before you can now be able to think and make logical decisions, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
even though our 18-year-olds can say, look, I'm a grown-up, I'm a adult, I can make my own decision, but we know that insurance companies will look at it and say, that one is still a child. He or she cannot make a decision. So think about that 18-year-old, that same 18-year-old playing the video games, buying tokens, spending that money, whatever money you give them. This is when you start to see your 18 or 19-year-old kid saying, oh, dad, I finished my project. Can I get my allowance? Oh, dad, can you give me my allowance before the end of the week? And
Mhm.
because that impulsiveness, they want to be able to get to that game and get to the next stage and pay that money and buy the next game. And let me tell you, in my line of work, I have several clients, and this young guy, he was playing the same games. And basically, what happened, he lost in one of the games. And he said he lost his money. He just became outraged. And he just, I mean, the situation was bad that the young man has to go to a psychiatric home. That is how bad it
Wow.
was. That is how bad it was. And so when we're talking about the mental health piece of this gambling, we are looking at some of the symptoms that come with it. Depression. Let's start with depression, for example. So here you are, Dr. Positive. You send $200 to your brother in Liberia. And I don't know your brother, so I can't say
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
does anything.
No, go with the analogy. I understand what you're
You,
saying. Go,
you
yeah.
send
Mhm.
$200 to your brother, and let's say your brother have this addiction. He takes that $200. There is one of those casinos right there at before you get to SKD and SD Cooper Road Junction when you're coming from the airport. Right there, there's one big one right there.
Mhm.
and so you send him that money, and because of this impulsive control he lacks, he goes into that place and he spent that $200. He thought
Without
he was
thinking.
gonna,
Mhm.
yeah, he thought he was gonna walk away with 5,000 or $10,000, but he pulled that $200 he's saying and wasted and burned all of it. He comes home very sad. His girlfriend say hello to him. He's mad. He's angry, and
Mhm.
physical aggression, physical abuse, and all of these negative things that tend to happen. It all comes as a result of us being so depressed and so down on our luck. Sometimes we feel like you don't want to talk to anybody. You come home, people saying to you, saying hello to you. You don't want to talk to them because you are so down. You are so frustrated, and you start talking to yourself, walking down the street, talking to yourself like someone talking to you. And all of these things, it really causes that sadness, that deep sadness, because now that person is thinking, where am I going to take that $200 from to go and pay my school fees that my brother sent that money for? And this is where you start to call them now. He starts, yeah, I registered already. I'm in school. I start in class next week, but they can't go to
They can't go to school. Yeah,
go to school.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
depression is one of those the biggest factor that actually come with this chronic addictive gambling situation.
No, so before we go to the depression, though, Mr. Sharif, what about the idea that the gambling make you to have this don't care attitude, right? Because you now lack concern for the person that's sending you that money. Because the first thing is somebody when I was gapping in Liberia, when somebody sent me that $200, if the first thing I'll be thinking is how can I pay my school fees, right? And then send the person a receipt to tell the person thank you, right? But the first
Mm,
thing, the fact that I'm not even thinking about that aspect of the whole money that the person sent me, that means gambling have put me into this don't care attitude mindset before I even get to lose my money, right? So you get to that state where you really start losing your faculty to think, right? Your thinking ability is now impacted by this thing that you can't even think about the person that sent you the money, what pain that person went through, like they say, what people that person clean in America to send you that money, right?
mhm.
And now you go and use that money, and then after the fact, before you now start regretting, like, all right, I could have even don't use half, instead of using the whole money, I could have used half, or I could have even just use $50 or something like that. So I think before it comes to the depression part, like once you are in that state, you start going to a mindset of, hey, I can't really think straight anymore because just to decide to make that decision to walk into that casino with the money that you didn't work for, with the money that somebody else worked for and sent to you is an overall attitude that somebody need to start taking care of, because then that makes you to not go to school in the first place. Then you become liability to society. You understand? So we need to take it serious.
Yeah, and and Steve, that is a very key point. I remember one time I was talking to someone, one of my individuals on my caseload, and this person was struggling with smoking. Just smoking. And when I say smoking, we're not just talking about cigarette. We're talking about other
Yeah, everything else, yeah.
substances as well. And so, in that person quiet time, I've met with this person. We're talking. I said, basically, why can you not just quit smoking? Talk to me about it. Why can you not quit smoking? And that person asked me a question. And the question that person asked me was, have you ever smoked in your life? And I said, no, I've never smoked. And true to God, I've never smoked in my life. I don't even know what it tastes like. I mean, smell like, except maybe I smell it from other people, secondhand smoke. But I've never put cigarette in my mouth. And then the person said, how would you know how easy it is for me to stop smoking? You've never smoked before. So you have no idea the challenge I'm going through and all of the ups and downs, the struggle I'm having. And when he said that, I told him, I said, you know what? You're right. All I'm giving to you are training I received from a school and all of these different things. But you are absolutely correct. Until I find myself in a particular position, I have no idea. I tell you that story to kind of tell you about what you talk about, that person having a don't care attitude. But the person that we are describing with this addiction, this chronic addiction, the person that we are describing, and that person lacked that impulse control. And to have the lack of impulse control, someone with no impulse control, they will actually do things before they start to think. After the
Hmm.
fact, because I mean, it's just like something is really pulling them towards this particular thing. Oh man, because in their mind, oh my goodness, this is, they will have all sort of rationale. Wow, what are the chances that my brother is just asking for 200 and he sent the 200 and the casino is open? What are the chances? This is God actually lining everything together. So if I
Hmm.
go and play, they really, really believe that. They really believe that. And because they lack this impulse control, They just cannot rationalize to make this decision to say, you know what, I'm going to use 50% of this 200 and keep the bottom 50%. It drives them the same way someone who is addicted to drugs and alcohol. Those Zogo boys that you see that people talk about, they're addicted to drug and alcohol. You can give them, you can give them money, but as soon as you put money in a hand, the first thought process is, let me go to
Nicole.
my dealer. Let me go to my dealer and get my high. And so that is the problem. That is the problem. So because of this lack of impulse control, that chronic, that person with that disorder, this chronic addictive gambling disorder, they will continue to go. So if it means to sell the family house, knowing that this is going to impact the family, at that point in time, it's not about the family. That mindset is, if I can just get this money, I'm going to win. I can
Yeah.
redeem money. I'm going to win early. Dr. Chikwasi, let me tell you one example. Maybe I started this gambling thing a long time ago before I even knew. But now I'm remembering the story. I was in Liberia. I was a young boy, and I was selling people. I was selling donut for my stepmom.
Mhm.
Dr. Positive, I went and I saw all the donut. I had the money in my pocket.
Mhm.
I had the money in my pocket, and I don't know if anybody in Liberia remember this.
Riverside Pro, you need to come close.
If anybody remember this game, Riverside Pro, you gotta let me know. But you know, there were guides. They used to be all over Waterside or on the street. They would have three cards in their hand,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
I
then they
know
would take the
that.
card. They will put the card this way, move the card this way, move the card this way, and then they will say, choose the one with the number on it. If you choose it, then you win.
Mhm.
Dr. Positive, I stood there instead of leaving. I stood over there. Those guys moved their hand, and you know those guys, they were very good. They will actually trick you. You'll get the first two times free. And the guy said, "Oh man, you're really good at this game.
Mhm. Plague.
Play again." But this time pay $25. I mean 25 cents or $5. Dr. Paul said I left doing that. And my mindset, after they won my first $5, my
Mhm.
mindset was, oh, now I'm short of this person donor money. I need
Mhm.
to keep playing until I redeem the money.
Mhm.
Because in my head, I'm thinking I can win the next time.
Mhm.
I kept playing until all that money was gone from me.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody remember that game. Those
Oh
of us
yeah, I do. I do remember that.
in my
People.
age
Yeah,
group,
yeah.
yeah, in my age group,
Mhm.
and we
Mhm.
used to have even this lucky ticketing. You roll the wheel. If you fall on top of the bottle, you win that particular gift. All sort of thing was in Liberia, and so this is not a new logic. And I lost all that people money. Needless
Mhm.
to say, I did not win. But that is the mindset of someone who feel that they can win.
Sheriff, as we come to the end of the show, thanks for telling all your addiction problems. Yeah, thanks for telling us your addiction problems. So now that you are killed, right? Now,
Yeah,
now
yeah,
that you are killed, how can you advise somebody to get killed, to come out of this situation that you,
yes.
Sheriff, were able to come out of? You so the my whole donor money.
you know, but no, Dr. Positive, that's a very good question. Like we started the show, I said this to you. Every now and then, you and myself, we are able to really control ourselves and get to the place where we feel like I am not going to cross this line. So those of you who feel like I'm going to Las Vegas, or Arsenal and Manchester United in Liberia, because that's part of that sport betting. Arsenal and Manchester United will be playing, and you feel like you have a good shot, you feel like you want to play this particular game, set a budget, right? When you set that budget, stick to that budget, don't go above it. If you go and you buy your lotto ticket, your one lotto ticket, if you didn't win, just like you did, Steve, you bought your one ticket, you didn't win, you didn't turn around and say, you know what? Let me go back and buy 100 ticket next week. Maybe because I only bought one, that's why I didn't win. But the
Mhm.
addictive person, they will look at it and say, you know what? Next time I shouldn't buy one, I should buy 10
10
because
years
my odds of winning will increase
increases.
10
Yeah.
times.
Mhm.
And so, but for you, you were very smart. You set that budget, say, I'm going to try this one time. You play, you didn't win. You say, okay, at least I can say I played the lotto one time.
Mhm.
But someone who is addicted, unfortunately, they will not be able to stop there. They will just keep going. So the first thing is set a goal, set a budget. and just say, look, this is my budget. I'm going to Las Vegas. I want to enjoy myself. This is my budget. When I get to that casino, I got $200 for this particular trip. After this particular $200, nothing else is going into it. And you stick to your plan. That is one way of actually getting out of there, you know. And the second thing is, eh, basically, don't create this mindset that, I am going to win or I have to win. I know everybody, when they're playing these games, that mindset is, I have to win. I have to win. And when you go in with that particular mindset and that outcome is different, where you don't win as you have expected, it causes you to get depressed and your self-esteem comes down, and you start to live into with this degree of regret, and that alone is enough to demoralize you and to cause you more pain, more harm than even the money that you have lost psychologically.
Yeah, and I think it gave you a sense of want to revenge, right? Because you feel like, all right, I'm gonna get more money and go get them. Since they took my money, I have to go get them. And Riverside Pro posted something that I think is worth talking about a little bit. When somebody is that addicted to make this part of their life, to say, all right, I'm playing this for my family. I'm playing this because my daughter got to go to school and I'm gonna win, right? Let's
Yeah,
just put it that way because I have my daughter portrait on my casino table and I'm playing with the whole family picture there. Is the purpose to say that I'm playing because hopefully when I win, my family is no longer going to suffer. Now, when we start building these strong analogies around the reason for playing, like I told you, my reason for playing was because I said I was contributing to the school system,
sure,
right?
sure.
So somebody can say, all right, my reason for playing is because I want to pay my children's school fee. That's a genuine reason. But look at it this way, though, family. Is that money that you're taking to play the lottery or gamble? Could half of that be used to pay the children's school fee down, right? Pull half away and say, all right, I'm going to use 75% to pay the children's school fee, and I'm going to use the 25% to gamble. It's
Sure.
not like we advocating for gambling, but if it's something that you are already addicted to, we cannot take you out of it immediately. But just start thinking a little bit more and say, when somebody send me money or when I get my paycheck, I will take 75% or 80% out to go and pay my children's school fee, to pay the rent, to do all the other stuff. That extra 20% for me to jolly. Whether you go into the club to go drink or whether you're going to play gamble, that's up to you. But at least take care of your family first. That's what we are asking you to do this evening.
Yeah, so with Riverside Point, Steve, I think you nailed it. But with Riverside Point too, I want to definitely say yes, that's part of the gambling addiction, right? Because in your mind, you would do anything to justify the reason why you have to play. You'll
Mhm.
justify that. I'm doing this for the family. So if you went to the casino and you lose all that money, and you went home and your wife said, oh, Johnny, I was keeping the money here. Tomorrow we have to pay the rent. What happened to the money? You took the money. I know you're not going to gamble again. Johnny was come in and said, I'm doing this for us. If I had gone and won $2.5 million, that money was going to come and take us out. But sometimes, though, because of our addiction, we don't even think, you know, because we always think, and people who are super addictive to this kind of lifestyle, brother, if they were even to win $1 million, they always will be thinking that I could win $10 million.
Yeah, I could win more. Yeah.
I could win more. That
Mhm.
$1 million will never be enough because the impulse control is not there. That's the key. The impulse control is not there. They don't know when to stop. They just keep going, going, going. And even if they win 1 million, they say, okay, I'm going to shoot for 5 million, 10 million, and they just keep going. And that also increases crime because talking to about people in Liberia, our 18 and 20 something year olds in Liberia who don't have job, where are they getting the resources from to go bet on games? Where are they getting money from to go to the casino? Where are they getting money from to do all of these things? And so that actually increase crime. They will, if they find anything that they can put their hand on that they can actually sell, they will take those things and sell it because you want to control the habit. I know we talk about addiction, we talk about drug addiction. That's something we have talked about a lot on the show. But gambling addiction is also a big problem. And I'm not just saying Liberia, it is a big problem here in the United States of America, for example. And it is a big problem in Liberia. There are billboards, there are signs, bet 3x, bet 2x, bet 3%. In Liberia, I mean, I was surprised. You get them everywhere. You get them everywhere. And so basically, I'm just saying we have to put ourselves in this position where we take away this mentality, this mindset of I must win or I will win. Because when you gamble, that's exactly what it is. It's gambling. There is no guarantee that the chips will fall where you are. So yeah, Stephen, if you want to come back in, yeah, the chips never fall. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I was just looking for some resources on mental health and gambling, and in the U.S. they have a hotline, they have videos. I probably will just drop this link here.
yeah.
This is from the UK, but if anybody have problem, at least you can go and watch this video because I bet if we were to call the health ministry in Liberia and say what are the resources you have for gambling addiction in Liberia, we'll hear mosquito in the air, will hear and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that other than the government should not only focus on drug addiction. I think they have to start putting some resources aside to start really going to those gambling places and seeing who are the people that are frequenting those places and what money and their sources of income and if it's impacting their family members and so the government can start doing something about it. We need to act now while it's still a new thing in our society because we need more productive people in Liberia. We need more people who can do things like carpentry, plumbing, and do things to create opportunities in Liberia. We don't need to lose the little money that we have to foreign nationals that open these companies. I don't have nothing against the business owners, but if this is not benefiting our country, my wish is that our government do everything and our family members, friends. If you find a friend that is getting addicted to gambling, talk to their family, talk to their loved ones to try to start helping them now so that this problem can be solved before it gets worse, like the way we have the drug pandemic in our country. Sharif, I will leave for you to end your show. Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Positive. Again, to our friends here in the US, in Liberia, and to our Liberian community, we know that each of us, coming from our background, we have this wishful thinking that, look, I could be the next millionaire. But even the good book that we all look at, the good book called the Bible, it talks about if we want to be successful, we must work hard. I do understand that there are a lot of people in our country who really want to work, but they can't find job. And because you can't find job, create one. Try to make one. Try to create one. I promise you guys, I'm not just saying this to you because it sounds good, but I will tell you. At one point in time, I myself, I live in Monrovia. I live right there on Front Street. I promise you, I used to have 2 gallons, the 5 gallon containers. I would go down, and I will fill those gallons up with water and I will come and sell it to people. And I was making my living. I was making money. And then, like I said earlier, then I would sell donuts for people or I would sell kerosene at night. At the time, we didn't have electricity. I would do all of those things. So we all kind of hustle. We did our own hustle. But to sit back and say, look, every little money that you have in your pocket, whether you work hard to get that money, you're gonna take that money and give it to and take it to the casino. All you're doing, you are giving it to the casino because, like Stephen was addressing here earlier, he is an IT person. They can set up those algorithms when you go to play in those casinos. Sometimes they set it up to be like 200 people have to play before one person win, and that one person that will win, they're not walking away with millions of dollars. And sometimes you have 500 people have to play before one person wins something. And so maybe you went in there today and you only put $1 in there and you came out with $2,000. That does not mean that it will always be the case for you. That does not mean that will be the thing for you. There are some people who actually do this particular gambling for leisure. They just have fun. They went out and they just saw the opportunity to play. But don't allow it to drive you to the point that you have no control over. Because if it does that, friends, you could be getting away, I mean, selling your own future. destroying your family, destroying your friends, even your job. You could be just as addicted as compared to the young people that we see in our country that we call Zogos today. So on this note, I just like to stop here today and just kind of go back and just reinforce this whole idea. It is a psychological problem. Gambling can be addiction. It can be a psychological problem. It can be addictive. It can lead to depression. It can lead to anxiety. It can lead to all of these different things. Restlessness, because your mind is always resting. Find control. Don't let this thing master you. You should gain control over it. On that note, friends, we'd like to say thank you so much for joining us today. And to our friend on Freedom FM 87.9, we say thank you for joining us. Next week, we are going to be here. We are going to be having table talk discussion. Dr. George is out of the country. He's traveling, so we wish him safe travel mercy. Dr. Positive, thank you again for joining me today. On this note, friends, we say good night in Liberia and enjoy the rest of your evening here in the US. Talk to you soon.